Hi guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, we're going to be learning Jailhouse Rock. So this is one of my favorite, actually it probably is my favorite, this and Hound Dog, are my favorite Elvis tunes. And first off, I do have to give props to not just Evan for an awesome ukulele arrangement, but to the boys for laying down the rhythm. So Steven on bass and Sage on drums, and a big special thanks to Ashley for her beautiful vocal. So amazing job to our team on this track. Now, here's the cool thing about this song. If you've been watching our lessons for a while and you've seen quite a few from Evan, well, this one just happens to be the easiest arrangement that he's ever done for us. So if you've ever felt a little bit intimidated, believe me, sometimes when I watch what he does and I have to learn it to teach you guys, it intimidates me too. So if you've ever been a little bit intimidated by one of his other arrangements that he's done for us, just know that this is the easiest. This is probably well suited for the intermediate player. So if you want to learn one of his, this is the one to do. And even though it's easier, it's equally as fun to play. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this lesson. So in this video, this is the part 1 lesson. We're going to learn the first half of the tune. And then in the part 2 lesson, we'll learn the second half of the tune. So if you want to watch the part 2 lesson, you can click this link right here, or go to the site rockclass101.com and do a search for Jailhouse Rock. Now also on that page will be the tabs that you can print off to follow along with, and the really cool on-screen tab player. So this is a great feature where you can hit play, you can watch the tab scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish. Just a great asset in learning this song that much easier. All right, so there's also one other really cool item on that lesson page, and that is the play along backing track. So we're gonna have the backing track in 3 different speeds. We'll have 50% speed, 75% speed, and 100% speed. So once you learn the uke parts, you can rock out at home with the band. So let's talk a little bit about a few things that we need to cover before we jump into learning this song. The first one, the elephant in the room. As you can hear, it's a low G, so you gotta grab the low G ukulele for this song. Now the second thing I wanna talk about is our right hand approach for finger picking. Now when we get into that bluesy arpeggios, the part that sounds like, right, those little arpeggio runs, da 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 da, right? There's multiple ways that you can approach playing that. If you go back and you watch what Evan's doing, he's doing more of a traditional finger picking approach where you really have 2 ways. You can do a 4-finger approach where each finger gets its own string. You could do a 3-finger approach where thumb would get string 4 and 3, index would get string 2, middle would get string 1. But here's the thing. For playing that section, and I'll remind you when we get to that part in the lesson, I like to use picado picking, which is a fancy terminology, which means alternate picking. You're going to be leading with the middle finger, following with the index. So if you're new to this picado picking technique, just try on the A string, middle, index, just alternate. Try to keep it nice and steady. Now here's the thing, if we use this picado picking, it makes our right hand playing a lot more efficient, because if you play with more traditional, you can see that I'm going 1 finger, a lot of plucks, pluck, 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 pluck. That's a lot of times to do 1 finger, whereas you can see how much more efficient it is if I can go ba 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 with middle first, middle first, middle first. So I think it's a lot easier to use picado picking for that part of this tune. So if you're new to picado picking and you want a little bit more of an in-depth explanation to the mechanics behind doing the technique, then check out the lesson. I'll put the spelling up here. It's called La Gitanita. It's a flamenco tune. It taught the picado picking technique in more detail, but it also taught this really cool rasgueado 4-finger barrel roll strum. And it's a really cool flamenco tune. So if you want to learn that type of style playing, it's a great song to check out. I'll put the link in the description box below. Now the last thing that I want to talk about is the form of this song. So this is a blues tune. And if you've studied the blues before, you know that the blues is 3 chords. It's the 1, 4, and the 5 chord. So we're in the key of F for this arrangement. That means that F is our 1 chord, and if we count our way up, we have F, G, A, B flat, that's our 4 chord. One more, C, that is our 5 chord. So we have F, B flat, and C. Now you'll hear that traditional 12-bar blues form sound. That kicks in when we get to the arpeggio, that little chorus section. But the beginning of the song starts out with an additional chord that's not the 1, the 4, or the 5. It's just a little passing chord, and it gives it that iconic dum dum bum 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 bum. It gives it that iconic sound. Bum bum da da bum bum. Right? So let's kick off talking about what's happening in this intro, and then when we get to the chorus, we'll kick back to talking about how it fits into that blues form. So we have 2 chords. Let's learn these 2 chords really quick. And the 2 chords, they're the exact same shape. So you learn the shape once, you got it for the second one. So we're starting with a partial bar. Take your index finger, lay flat on the 7th fret, string 1 and 2. Middle finger is 8 on string 3, and your ring finger is 9 on string 4. So here's the thing, anytime you're doing partial bar chords, which means you're covering 2 or 3 strings, full bar chord is all 4 strings. Anytime you're doing these partial or full bar chords, proper left hand form is vital. So it's not only what's happening here in front of the neck, it's also what you're doing behind the neck. You can see this U-shaped gap. So if you need a recap on proper left hand form to get these bar chords to ring crystal clear, then click this link right here. I'll put the link in the description box below as well. Now, the thing with this chord, once you make it, so flat on 7, 8, and 9, go ahead and strum that chord. This is E. Go up a half step. So move everything up 1 fret, and that takes us to F, right? That's our 1 chord. So here's the thing. When I taught private lessons, one of the things that was really difficult for folks was to keep the same chord shape and move it up to a different fret. Now it's a little bit easier in this case because we're only going up 1 fret. We're going up a half step, right? But still, you want to make sure that as you move up, your fingers move in unison and no finger moves to a fret that is incorrect. So here's what I saw a lot when I taught private lessons. I saw folks would have trouble when they move fingers. They would move maybe this one first and then these 2 would follow. And as you can see, I'm already in the wrong fret. So you want to make sure that as you move your way up, you stay in the correct frets and just start really slow. You can put it to a very simple time frame to practice the transition. You can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just try half note. Just very simple rhythm to practice the transition and moving your hands so that each finger remains in the proper fret. Nothing goes out of line. Okay? So you just want to get used to going E, F. Okay? So once you feel comfortable with that, let's take a look at the rhythm. So we're going to look at 2 bars. I'm going to put the rhythm hits up here. So in the first measure, you can see that we have a red hit on the end of 3. And then in the second measure, you can see we have the red hit on beat 1. So that means that in measure 1, we're hitting the E chord on the end of 3. And then in measure 2, we're hitting the F chord on beat 1. So if we were to count this song nice and slow, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3. Clap with me. 1, 2, 3, E, F, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what you want to really understand is where you're hitting as it relates to those 2 measures. The entire time we're doing E to F, that's all that happens throughout the entire song. Now here's the thing. This is really a song that is all about feel. And if you're playing with the backing track, that's what you're going to be doing. You're not going to be playing with the drums going 1, 2, 3. Sorry, let me try again. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're not going to be counting under your breath like that, right? You're going to feel the groove. And here's one way to feel the groove. Think about the drum. It's going to go da da bum bum, da da bum bum, da da bum bum. So you're always going to have those 2 little drum hits in between. E, F, bum bum. E, F, bum, bum. You can just feel the groove. That's another way to approach it. So it's always good to look and understand it from a rhythmic perspective, but also just to feel it and get into the groove of the music. So let's do this, guys. We're gonna work on this little intro. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take 5 bars. So these are the first 5 bars of the tune. This is before the vocal starts. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go E, F, bum, bum, E, F, bum, bum, E. So we're gonna stop on E and not go to F for the last one. So let's try that together. So we have, I'll give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, E, F. So we'll start like that. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, E, F, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, E, F, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, E. Awesome. So that's our intro, because right there is when we kick into that first verse. Now, let's talk about one last thing. When you're playing these E to F, if you watch Evan, he's doing a down strum for everything. It really doesn't matter too much. If you want to go up, down for your strum, that works as well. You can even go down, up, or you could do maybe a mix, pluck, strum down, pluck, strum down. Yeah, pluck, strum down would work great too. So just experiment a little bit with how you want to do those hits. There's no right or wrong. It's up to you. All right, so let's go ahead and kick into our first verse. Now the verse is 8 bars in length. So anytime you have a verse, and I believe there's 5 of them, they're all 8 bars in length. And once you learn this first verse, all of them are identical to this. So remember, we left off on E at that intro. We left off on that 5th bar going into this verse. Right, so remember that E to F motion, that's still happening. But we're gonna approach learning the verse starting on the F chord so that it starts in measure 1 and it gives us that 8 bar form. So let's do this. I'm gonna play through the verse and I'll put the bar numbers as they go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all up there so you can see and hear the order before we actually break it down and learn it. I think that's gonna be the most efficient way to, or clear, concise way to actually conceptualize and see and hear the verse intact. So I'll count it out as I go through and I'll put the bar numbers on the screen as well. So starting on F, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, E, F, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, E, F, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, E, F, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's our 8 bars. And you can hear it's just the E to the F, E to the F quite a few times, right? So let's go ahead and start on bar 1, and we're actually gonna see if we can try it and play through all of this, all right? And I'll count us out and we'll go slow. Okay, so we're gonna start on bar 1 with the F, just the F hit. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, E, F, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, E, F, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, E, F, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4. So here's the interesting thing. On measure 7, you can hear that I just did a very quick hit of the F. So you don't let it ring out on measure 7. You just want a quick little hit, okay? Because that's gonna signal the end of the ukulele part before we kick into the chorus, all right? So keep that in mind for measure 7, just a quick little staccato-y like hit. And let's try that verse again, starting on F. So here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. F, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, E, F, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, E, F, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, E, F. Right? That's that quick staccato hit. Now, I stopped right on that F hit, but here's the thing. You really, really need to be cognitive that you rest for the remainder of bar 7 and bar 8, right? Because the next part, the little arpeggios, they don't start until the 9th bar, okay? So let's try the verse one more time and let's play all the way to the end, okay? And I'll actually kick into the chorus so you can hear how the transition happens. So again, we'll start on F. So we have 1, 2, ready, go. F, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, E, F, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, E, F, 2, 3, 4, 6, 3, E, F, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4. And then it goes into the next part. So it's really important that we count those last two, 7th measure and the 8th measure, right? We count those out and we don't come in prematurely with the little bluesy arpeggio run. Okay, so that's everything for the verse. Remember that there's 5 verses in this tune. So every time you go into one of the verses, it's going to be the exact same 8 bars that we just covered. So let's go ahead and kick into our chorus. All right, so for our chorus, this is where we kick into that 12-bar blues form. But here's the thing, we're not starting on bar 1 in the 12-bar blues form. Instead, we're starting on bar 5. So that means you're doing this. You're playing the 4 chord, which is B flat, for 2 bars. That's 5 and 6. Then you go to the 1 chord, which is F. That's bar 7 and 8. Then you go to the 5 chord for bar 9, the 4 chord for bar 10, and back to the 1 chord for bar 11 and 12. Now, if you are extremely confused in everything that I'm saying, and I know I did not put any graphics up on the screen, and I did not put any graphics up on the screen, one, because it is a crutch. If you only memorize the chord progression for the key you're in, but you don't actually understand the 12-bar blues form, you don't have it memorized in the order that it goes in, then you will forever be dependent on a chord chart to play with. If you understand the form, then you can play in any key as long as you have a general understanding of the key that you're playing out of. So here's the thing, guys. It's vital for any time you're playing blues to understand the 12-bar blues form. So you got to know that if I say start the form on the 5th bar when we're in the key of F, that means that in your head you know you're going, okay, I'm starting on the 4 chord for 2 bars, back to the 1 chord for 2 bars, then 5, then 4, then back to the 1 chord for 2 bars. If you can't do that, click this link right here, and it will take you to an article on our page that explains the 12-bar blues to a T, and you'll be able to memorize it. And when I say something like that, you'll be like, sure, no problem. I'll jump right into it. All right, so with that in mind, let's go ahead and learn what we're playing out of. So this is our little arpeggio section. So remember in the beginning of the video, I talked about doing the piccato picking. So that's going to be my preferred way for approaching the finger picking part of this lesson. Now you can do what Evan did, which is more of the traditional. We talked about 4-finger or 3-finger, but give the piccato picking a shot. I think it's a very, very efficient way to play this, and I think it'll make it a lot easier. So here's what we're playing out of. We're starting on the 4 chord, which is the B flat. So to play this chord, let's learn the actual shape that we're playing out of, or so I should say, to play this arpeggio, let's learn the shape that we're playing out of before we actually learn the arpeggio. So for the B flat, what we're going to do is we're going to take the middle finger, put it on 10 on string 3, our ring finger is underneath it, it's 10 on string 2, and then the index is 8 on string 1. So here's the thing, when we go to the 5 chord, remember the 5 chord is a whole step up. So when we play the 5 chord, you're doing the exact same shape, but we're playing a C chord now. So that's 12, 12, and 10. So you may want to just practice 4 chord to the 5 chord, because C will be coming up very shortly, okay? So let's kick off with the B flat. So go back to 10, 10, and 8. And let's learn what we're playing. So if we put up the rhythm hits, we can see that for this first measure of the chorus, we're playing all 8th notes, okay? So make the chord shape, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to play string 3, string 2, string 1. And you can see that I'm plucking 2 times on each of them. So I have 1 and 2 and 3 and... Now to finish it up, we're going to take that ring finger, put it on 10 on string 1, and then lift it up and go back to 8 on string 1. So all together I have 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1, drop down to the 10th fret of string 1, play that note, lift up, back to the 8th fret. Now here's the thing, when you're playing this song, you're not actually going to be making the entire chord shape from the get-go. Instead, you're going to be doing probably something more like this. So you can see that I'm adding middle finger first, ring finger after, middle stays anchored. When I get to the A string note, I lift the other fingers up, and then ring comes down, and then comes up again. So that's going to make it a really efficient way to play. So we don't want to just make this entire chord shape at the get-go, because you have to remember that this song is at a pretty quick tempo. So that puts a lot of pressure on our left hand to make full chord shape from the get-go, when it's not necessarily necessary, right? Because if I play at the speed of the tune, it's very fast, right? And if I have to go on beat 1 to make the entire chord shape with my left hand, I'm doing more work than I actually have to. So keep that in mind. So we're going back to this B flat, and what we're going to do is we're going to play it 2 times in a row. That gives us the 5th and the 6th bar of the 12-bar blues. But again, we're just going to label the tab or the rhythm hits up here as measure 1 and measure 2. So our chorus is 8 bars in length. So these are the first 2 bars for the chorus. So let's do it 2 times in a row. Sounds like this. Okay, let's you and I try. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Nice. Now we go to the F chord. So this shape is the exact same shape that we did in the previous couple sections. But this time around, we actually don't have to even do the full bar chord or the partial bar chord at the bottom. Instead, we're just going to be doing the staircase. So you have 10 on string 4, 9 on string 3, index is 8 on string 2. And the same little concept applies. We don't have to make the full chord shape at the get-go. Instead, we can just go ring, middle, index. Okay, so let's do double hits. String 4, string 3, string 2. Let's try that. 3, 4. Nice. Now keep that index finger there, and just like before, we're going to add the ring finger to 10 on string 2. Play once, and then go back to the index finger, which is 8 on string 2. So I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, let's give that a shot. And we're going to go 2 times as well for that. So here we go. 3, 4. Nice. So if we backtrack, we have half of the chorus. So we have 2 bars for B flat, 2 bars for F, gives us the first 4 bars. So let's give that a shot. 1, 2, ready, go. Nice. Now remember the C chord. So we're at that 9th bar in the 12-bar blues. It goes 5 to the 10th bar, which is 4. So we're going C chord to the B flat chord. Okay. So remember, make the B flat shape, go up a whole step. You got the C chord. So we're doing the exact same thing we did for the B flat bars, where we're going 3, 3, 2, 2. First string, and then ring finger back to first. So we're doing the exact same left hand and right hand. We're just up on the C chord. So let's do 1 bar of that. Let's give that a shot. So we have 12, 12, 10, then 12, 10. Okay, so let's give it a shot. 3, 4. Awesome. Now we're just going to drop everything down a whole step and go back to B flat. So same left hand, same right hand. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go C, 1 bar, B flat, 1 bar. Okay, let's give that a shot. 3, 4. Nice. And to finish it up, we're back to F for 2 bars. Okay, so let's see if we can try the little ending, those 4 bars intact. So we have C, B flat, F. Repeat. Okay, so let's give that a shot. 1, 2, ready, go. Awesome. Now here's really the other thing that you want to add. You want to add that hit of the F chord immediately after it, because once you finish this chorus, you're going into verse number 2, and it's going to be right on that 1 beat. So when you finish the F, you want to go back into the F chord hit, and that starts your 8 bars of the second verse. So let's hit pause and let's try this. Let's go through the entire chorus. So remember, you're starting on the 5th bar of the 12-bar blues. So you got the 4 chord for 2 bars. Repeat. The 1 chord, 2 bars. Repeat. The 5 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord. Repeat. Hit the chord, and you're done. Okay? Let's give that a shot. 1, 2, ready, go. Nice. So that's the chorus in a nutshell. Remember, that last hit is the start of the verse. But the chorus is 8 bars, and every time you see a chorus in this tune, it's identical to that. So you learn it once, you got it for every time it repeats. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the form of this song. So far we've covered the intro, which was the first 5 bars. Then we went into the 8 bars for the first verse, and then we went into the 8 bars for the first chorus. After that, you're going to do 8 bars of the verse. So that's verse number 2. Then you're going into 8 bars for chorus number 2. After that, you're going into 8 bars for verse number 3. And then you go into 8 bars for chorus number 3. So far it's just copy and paste over and over, the same parts that we've already learned. And that leads us to where we're going to be stopping this lesson, because at the end of the 3rd chorus, you go into the actual solo, which is a ton of fun to play. And that's where we're going to kick off with our part 2 lesson. So guys, if you want to learn the next parts of the solo plus there's a really cool outro that Evan does for this tune. We're going to be covering that in the part 2 lesson, so you can click this link, or you can go to the site rockclass101.com. You can do a search for Jailhouse Rock, and that'll take you to that lesson page as well. Don't forget too, on that page will be the tabs that you can print to keep for your records, as well as the really cool interactive on-screen tab player. So you can hit play, you can watch the tab scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars, loop sections, slow down, all that fun jazz. And last but not least, the backing tracks. So we have a 50% speed, 75, and 100% speed for this tune. So once you learn the uke part, you can rock out at home with the band. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you in the part 2 one. Take care.